going to be Gary Munro to get the second of our semi-finals underway. And it's a huge towering restart, which has been well gathered there by Finn Scott. Flapped it back, and Ben McNeil gathers. Finn Scott plays scrum half. He finds Bambrick. Bambrick finds Lewis Walker. He finds the shoulder of Bruce Colvin, and Colvin looks to try and find the ball snuffled inside that breakdown somewhere. He does just that. He's maybe not found the ball, but he's found the penalty from the match official. Mikowski is taking the penalty. It's eventually ended up in the hands of Pilcher, who tries to power forward and drive the legs as Colvin plays half-back and finds Mikowski on the halfway line now as Crawford. A little hop, step and a jump, and he tries to go round, and it's a huge carry there as well from Matthew Klein. Mikowski has to burrow his head down, and the referee just signalling that the penalty is going to go the way of Jedforest now. And I'm looking at the clock, it's 1 minute, and it depends what Jedforest opt to do here. But if they keep the ball in hand, which they're not going to because they're going to kick the touch, I think it's going to be a few minutes before Jedforest give the ball away. But
what
that is an excellent kick from Gary Munro. From his 22, he's managed to get the ball about 10 metres shy of the Melrose line. The pitch at Berwick's not the biggest of pitches, but it's certainly a sizeable effort to be able to kick that from there.
And using the wind behind, of course, which has gone up quite strongly as well. So Munro to throw in.
Munro finds Finlay Scott, who's lifted, and then it's into the hands of Lewis Young. Lewis Young uses some footwork, but has been stopped there, dead by the Melrose defence. Lewis Walker now offers to wrap himself round and offer himself up for some support. Lewis Young has to track back and get the ball and get it to ground and secure it for Jedforest just shy of their 10 metre line, and then they just give it to the battering ram now. Walker has got Colvin there. Colvin manages just to wrap round, and it's a good tackle from the Melrose number 4. And now the Jedforest number 4, Munro, distributes to Ben McNeil and finds Lewis Young. Lewis Young gives it to Hayes, who stabs the ball off his toe and it pops up into his hands. Melrose are pleading with the referee that they got the ball back, and they did through Klein, and now it's for Pilcher to try and wander in towards Jedforest territory. They've been wrapped up yet again, and now there's numbers up here for Melrose if they can straighten up this line through Klein. And now Colvin looks to try and fend James Walker. He's not wanting to back down from a fight anyway, Bruce Colvin, and he's picked on the biggest guy in the Jedforest team. Now Donald Crawford spots a little gap on the outside. He's found Elliot Ruthven, who's been able to just catch Jedforest unawares, and now he's scampering over the 22 metre line. He's got Pilcher in support, but he's going to go it alone. He's going to outstretch Munro and go in for a score, and it is first blood to Melrose here in the second of our semi-finals. 3 minutes gone. Melrose 5, Jedforest 0.
Well, Elliot Ruthven should be in a circus. That was some tremendous juggling, and he controlled that ball so well. And then the pace that he had to get past, I think it was Munro, was it in the corner? And Munro's no slouch, as we've seen on very many occasions. But yes, first blood to Melrose. It's out in the corner, so this conversion is going to be tricky.
Jedforest 0, Melrose 5. Elliot Ruthven with the try for the black and yellows. The restart, they just went straight to Lewis Young. Lewis Young now twists and turns and finds open field. He now kicks downfield, and he's got Bruce Colvin to beat, and the bounce of the ball also, and it just sets up so nicely for him, and he goes in, replies straight away under the Kinlan as well. So it's going to be a nice easy conversion attempt for either Munro or Finlay Scott to go for, but that's, you don't want to upset Jedforest, do you? That's what they do.
That's what they do.
No, Gary Munro, right-footed kick, it's accurate, and the assistant referee's flags do go up, so signals that it's been a successful conversion there, and it's the first time we've really seen the nerves fall away from Jedforest in this semi-final, because they certainly looked a bit shaky in the opening exchanges, the opening minute or so of this tie. Melrose looked like this is like a throwback between Melrose and Jed of old. Melrose being able to control the game and control the ball and stubbornly not gift opportunities to the other team. And Jedforest are perhaps the modern day Melrose team that used to dominate the Kings of the Sevens, and now a great offload there. Archie Pilcher has been released by Mikowski. He's arrowing back in field, but he's been brilliantly tackled there by Gary Munro, and Nagel, who's playing against his hometown club, is there in Melrose colours to just truck it forward and secure it in his clutches. Now distributed wide, Donald Crawford back in field. He's went on the inside of Finn Scott, and it's opened up for him, and Melrose replies straight away. It's now a minute or so to go in this first half, and Melrose retake the lead 10 points to 7. Donald Crawford is a player that I've praised a lot over the last few seasons. His step and his balance of running is really impressive, and especially at sevens. He's got a really unorthodox, awkward sidestep, which really works more often than it doesn't. And it's now Melrose who hold the advantage. Wind in their faces. Bruce Colvin just stabs it and chips it over the 10 metre line straight to Ben McNeil, who tries to flap it into a Jedforest hand, but it's been hacked downfield by Jedforest, and then it's been kicked off the post by Gary Monroe, and it's just fell back into Melrose hands. It's been the most unusual passage of play there between these two sides, because Gary Monroe tried to kick it dead and it ricocheted off the posts, and now it's went into Jedforest hands. The referee has signalled that there's a penalty there, but it's probably the most unusual 20 seconds of rugby that I've seen in a long time. And the flat back just not going to hand. Gary Monroe was looking to try and kick the ball dead, and it's came back off the uprights into a Melrose hand, but eventually it's culminated in a Melrose penalty deep inside the Jedforest 22. And if I've said it once, I've said it a million times, this will be an important time to score for the Melrose. They could stretch their lead before half time. Into the hands of Crawford. Crawford now going against the grain, thinks he sees an opportunity, but he's been clattered there by Walker. It's James Walker, but now it's in the hands of Nagle. Klein, Ruthven ducks and weaves, and Gary Monroe clatters them. And then Nagle playing as the scrum half, finds Colvin steps once, steps twice, pirouettes round and just lays it on a plate to Nagle. Nagle one-handed just cuts there with Mikowski, and he scythes through the defensive line, and Melrose now stretch their lead 17 points to 7 with a kick to come.
Yeah, that was very good play. Mikowski's been coming under the radar, I think, this tournament. He's been doing some really good work off the ball and on the ball, and scoring a couple of tries as well, and that's another one for him today. 3 tries to 1 in this first half. It will be the interval after Bruce Colvin's conversion.
The line out successful for Jedforest, and Lewis Young now has got the ball in his hands. Now Lewis Walker, he offloads back to Young, and Young tries to break free from the defensive effort from Donald Crawford. He has to eventually take a knee just outside of his own 22, and Gary Monroe distributes the ball to Finlay Scott, and Ben McNeil, a big powerhouse, a big powerful runner, looking for the offload, but James Walker had vacated his post on the wing, so he was missing in action when Ben McNeil was trying to put that offload in, and then Donald Crawford has just turned on a sixpence and managed to offload to Mikowski back in field to Archie Pilcher, and Melrose add another try to their tally. 24 points to 7. They lead. We've played a minute and a half in the second half, and Melrose, we did say, well, we never said, but we should have said the next score is going to be important, and it's went to Melrose, and it's a well-worked score, and again built from good work by Donald Crawford. Yeah,
you can't argue with 4 tries to 1 in this game. Melrose on top here without any question. Bruce Colvin under the posts and gets that one as well, so it goes up to 26 points to 7.
And Bruce Colvin, who has not won this tournament in his career. He's played in a final here before. He would love an opportunity to tackle Edinburgh Accies and potentially win the trophy. And Bruce Colvin has just been shackled there by Gary Monroe, but then Lewis Young has just grabbed the ball, and now he's taken Donald Crawford for a little walk, and now he passes it to Lewis Walker, who's got Robbie Shearer-Gibb on the outside. They try and pass it to the speedster who wants to go on the outside to Archie Pilcher. He almost reaches for the line, but he's just been shackled just shy, and the ball is broken free, but the referee has spotted that the ball was not out. He's given the yellow card to Connor Spence, I believe. I'm just waiting to see who's leaving the field. I think that's Donald Crawford, perhaps, actually.
Crawford, yeah.
Been given his marching orders, so Jedforest got a man up here, still trailing. Monroe flings the ball to Finlay Scott, who's hugging the touchline. He bounces back in field and then goes again. He's been wrapped up there by Colvin. Gary Monroe quickly there, gives it to James Walker, who gives it to his brother Lewis. He bounces infield and then again off one foot tries to go through the top of Hamish Weir, and then it's a little bit of an avid moment there between Gary Monroe and Connor Spence, because he just punted the ball off the field of play. That's working into Melrose's hands.
Yeah, that's 1 minute of play where they should have scored, and if they had, that would have been a lifeline for them. Now it's Melrose possession. Yes, it's inside their own 5 metre line by the post, but in the shadow of the post. But you can see the time is ticking away, and Jedforest are 26-7 adrift.
Bruce Colvin taking all the time in the world to get to the scrum, which shows his experience. He knows what he can do to manipulate the time. The scrum not going to fruition either, so again playing in towards the black and yellow's hands. Jedforest are going to have to score pretty quickly if they've got any realistic opportunities or hopes to go through to the final here, and they've been faced with an inspired Melrose team. But Gary Munro does strike from the scrum, and he goes over the scrum up front, completely obliterated Melrose. And he just drove over the top of them. The ball was there for Munro just to pluck off the ground and squirm over for a try. So 14 points to 26, game on. Got the conversion attempt. We've got 2 minutes left in this semi-final. 10 metres, and it's a brilliant executed kick there. It's just dribbled over. Gary Munro out the back door now to Ben McNeill. Ben McNeill goes one way, goes the other, and then breaks free from Bruce Colvin, and now he's going to go in for another try. He's offloaded back inside to Lewis Young. And just like that, he said they had to score quickly, they had to get a couple of tries, and they get just that. Gary Munro with the extras again.
2 in a minute.
And now 26 points to 21, and we've got a minute left in this semi-final. Donald Crawford back on, Melrose up to a full complement of players. Mughal is also on for Melrose.
Important kick.
It's a high testing restart there, but it's been well gathered by Crawford, who was still in the air when he was hit. So it's a bit temperamental there for Jedforest. And James Walker has just hit Donald Crawford while he was in the air. So the penalty is going to go the way of Melrose. There's certainly a lot of experience in this Jed team, but can they pull this from the fire? Nagel goes short. Colvin's over that ball. Weir takes his time distributing to Crawford. Crawford's got Pilcher. Pilcher has got Mughal outside, but he just puts the brakes on and throws the ball back inside. It's into the hands of Bruce Colvin. Bruce Colvin's got some support there, and Connor Spence. And can Spence make his way in towards the 22? He can do just that and feeds the ball back to Nagel. Pilcher's got Weir. Weir chooses the right option in terms of not throwing that big ball wide. He's opted just to try and hold it. The penalty is going to go the way of Jedforest.
Last chance.
They're going to see the rest of this game out with the ball in hand. So it is the last chance, but if there's one team that can score from deep and score from inside their own half, it is Jedforest. Lewis Young, he kicks forward. It's been charged down. I think that
the referees looked at
the
it.
Jedforest players.
Penalty, yep.
It's been a knock on there.
Oh no, that's it.
The penalty not given. The referee has signalled that is the final play in this game. I think Bruce Colvin has been injured in the act of charging down that ball, but Melrose are the victors. They progress to the final. 26 points to 21. They beat the heavily fancied Jedforest.